Okay, folks, welcome back. Takes a little while to get started, even though I got everything in place. I've been trying to do a little bit more proactive, and take some photos of for use for a thumbnail before I'm already in the video, and I can't do it. So I don't know if you guys were able to see that before you click on the thing, but and let's make sure we turn on the right chat. Okay. Bending over on my day off. It's not my idea of a good time. Okay. So we finished kind of a little diorama we did of the city streets just to kind of see these bricks in action. And that was actually pretty easy, just staining these bricks. And I got another batch of them going. I did not use Nuln oil this time. I made my craft paint and water mix, and I poured a fair amount of little bricks in there just to see how kind of that's going to work out. So I should be pretty happy with that once it dries. I could put them on a paper towel, but I'm just going to leave those be. We still have tons more, so anyhow, that bodes well. And I wasn't 100% happy with the sidewalks before how I did them because they just looked too clean. So I gave them a brown wash, and that kind of changed them up a little bit. It made them look, I think, a little better. And I'm not going to say that I'm completely done tinkering with them, but it's at least a start. I'm comfortable enough with it to move to another building. So that's what we're going to do. We got two buildings done so far, or at least the footprint on two buildings. So let's knock out the other ones. I don't know how far we're going to be able to get, but we need to seal these things before we do anything else. This one is sealed. This is the third one I had the stuff for, the sanding sealer for. So we need to cut the footprint on the other three buildings as well, now that we've got the wood for it. Now, these other buildings are a little different. This one being the factory, and the factory building, even though, what do we call this one? This is the pharmacy. Yeah, well, it's the pharmacy maybe on the top floor. And these two, they're different because they have a section that is destroyed here. So we need to cut a piece that is going to match that. Now this one's going to be on a corner, and we're probably going to come over to this area here. And when we get to this, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to follow this back. So the sidewalk's going to say maybe end here and follow this all the way back. I'm not going to have it extend past this because who really knows what's back here. It could be rubble, or I don't know. I've got mixed feelings on that. So I think that if I follow it to the contour, if I want to add something later, I can always do that. If I continue it here and I want to put something up next to it, it's really not going to work. So, and actually, in a way, the floor of this and the floor of this one are very similar. So they almost can go together like that. Almost. Could certainly make it so that's, there's a gap between them and do something different. But if, if I extend that any length, I'm not going to be able to do something like that. So we're just going to cut it even on the back of them. Just bring the sidewalk up to it. And then here, this is some of I really like the way these bundles of bricks turned out. So there are some buildings that they do make um, brick stuff like that left, and I am looking forward to getting some of those because it ought to look pretty good. But these buildings aren't perfect. As good as they aren't perfect. I don't know if you can see this, but this wall actually bows out a little bit. It bows. It's shaped like this. So good morning, Ben. So we need to account for that. So each one of these buildings, all three of these buildings, are going to take one sheet of this stuff. I don't think there's a way to combine two of them and use one. Now no, not with a proper amount of sidewalk. So we'll try to put them on a corner there so we can maximize using this for something else. All right, so let's go ahead and draw these out. How you doing this morning, man? Or this nearly afternoon. I got extra little bricks here, man. We need to put these with the rest of them. It's nice that any of those colors worked. So if I feel like I don't have enough bricks, as long as I'm getting one of the red ones, I'm fine with either 187th or 172nd. Be able to get more of them on there. It's not too bad. Your gable end does the same in real life. It had to be repaired. Tired, all the news popped just as I was dozing off. We're not going to talk about the news. Look at the news that's happened in the last, I guess it was about 12 hours. And I've just cursory glanced at it. And there's so much misinformation out there. I hate social media. And I don't like lies, just like, people making up shit. So we'll leave it at that. I'm going to say this. Historicon's going on right now. This hasn't been the first time there was a shooting. A high news covered shooting during Historicon. And why is it that every time a Kennedy runs for president, somebody gets shot at? That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this down like so. And we're going to need our little... I wish I had several of these because they're really handy. And I've never had one until now. Well, actually, I got it a couple weeks ago. But I've always wanted a square, and I've never had one. It distracted me from looking at Forged in Battle and Timecast. They don't have a website. I guess they don't have one of those websites that went down by the server, huh? Because a lot of those wargaming things went down because of the server. Oh my goodness. Does this fit this dimensionally? Oh, it damn near does. I almost think that that's what I need to do. Yeah, let's lay it out this way. If the sidewalk's a little short on this side, well, there's no windows, so that could be an alleyway. Let's do that. Yeah. Let's do that. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but the sidewalk in front of these buildings is about half an inch or so. Draw this in. Crap, I vacuumed this room. And we're going to go straight across that. Okay, so that's this one. We're going to keep that. Pretty good fit. Yeah, well, I'm going to check this to both sides because one of these might actually be a good fit, and I discounted it. Yeah, we're going to have a remainder on here. So this is kind of an alleyway as well, meaning there's no windows on that side. But I really want this side to be on the corner. Yeah, I don't really listen to the news at all. Because of stuff like that. There's just so much misinformation, it's just not worth my time. You guys that wear glasses, I know the answer to this. This is a rhetorical question. Feel like you're drunk all the time? I'm just not used to wearing glasses. You move, and then your vision goes, huh? Afterwards, it's like, hey, I just feel like I got a beer in me. How much did that MDF cost me? I was looking to get some because there's a 3mm thick base on the bottom of the Hovels wall that you got. So I got this on Amazon. I don't know how I came across 2mm. Well, first of all, I'm pro metric, as you probably well you know. Not everybody knows. I'm pro metric, especially with these small things because you're talking about whole numbers. So, you know, if somebody says, "Oh, it's 5/16 of an inch thick," I'm going to convert it to metric so I can figure out what the hell it actually is. So I wanted to get it as thin as I could because I didn't want it to be difficult to cut because I'm going to be cutting with an X-Acto knife. I mean, I could cut 3mm as well, but when I found this on Amazon, I made the mistake that there's only 2 items, at least on Amazon US, that are available in 2mm thick. This package, and one that has some smaller pieces that are like 8x8 or 6x8, and it cost $12 for 8 of them. So that's not too bad. Shipped, you know, and I could get it the same day if I needed to. And the name of this particular vendor is called Calpalmi. Yep. Oh, and they sell this in wooden blocks, 2mm thick. They sell some other stuff, but that's what it looks like here. I wish I had. I mean, if I have one gripe, I'm like, man, I wish it could have been. So here's the thing. My road sections are 10 inches long because this is 10 inches. It's 8 by 10. The bad news is it's not a foot, so it doesn't translate exactly on the map. Now, I don't have to make the maps exactly the way that says. I just, for the sake of, as my starting point, that's what I wanted to do. However, infantry in this game can move 5 inches max per action. So they can move 10 inches. So it's real easy to say, well, how far can an infantry move each turn? Well, if you move twice, they move the length of the roadway. That's just, coincidental. Now, if you're some super soldier like Spears in Band of Brothers, who gets 3 actions per turn, he could move 3 of them. And he pulled all 3 chits at the same time and took off down that road. Yeah, that's how you justify that, right? He was at the end of the turn. He hadn't moved yet. He moved all 3 actions, so he moved 15 inches. And then when the game came back, he could move, his first 3 chits got pulled again. Just, luck of the Irish. And they, and he moved 30 inches before anybody got a chance to shoot at him. Yeah, nobody's catching you for sure if that happens. But that's really unlikely to happen in the game. Okay, the last sheet. Got to justify everything so it makes sense. The ciliary, oh boy, here comes the education. The ciliary muscles in the eye are responsible for focusing when you change from long to short distance. They start to deteriorate after age 35. Yeah, mine was 45 when I went to ship. Maybe I got a running start because I was nearsighted. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. It's a problem in the daytime because I'm extremely sunglass heavy. So having have a pair of sunglasses and readers at the same time is a pain in the ass. And I'm fighting like hell to not have to upgrade my readers. I've got the weakest ones I could find. And actually, the brand I got, the first readers I ever bought, I really liked how they looked. And they worked pretty well, but they were really cheap and brittle and they broke real easy. These that I have now are really durable. I haven't broken a single one. And I can send you the link for that if you're interested in which ones you are. They make all kinds of different prescriptions, but they're a 3-pack. And I've been pretty happy with them, but I got the weakest thing that they make in them, which I don't remember what it is. I think they're 125s. But these are a metal frame, and they're just, I keep some at work, and, I'm one of them old people that's got them everywhere. I got them in my bag. I travel in, and I got 4 or 5 pair of them. My wife needs to use them from time. It's slightly, I wasn't expecting that. Let's put it that way. Being nearsighted my whole life and then realizing, I'm too close to something to see it is just really kind of a weird situation to put yourself in. So here's the entrance to this particular building. If you're wearing glasses, it's like you're drunk. If you're wearing glasses, it's like you're drunk. I stopped wearing my glasses all the time and only use them for long distances. Yeah. Well, I don't have my contacts in right now. Luckily, I drive. My long distance vision is corrected properly with contacts. Let's put it that way. So I don't need it when I'm driving. we're going to cut those pieces out. It's actually one of my favorite buildings. But now, as much as I like these buildings, I'm probably never going to buy, well, I'm not going to buy another Hovels building because I have them all. I think there's only like one that I don't have. And all the other buildings they make now, you know, they don't have a separate floor, like they have a built-in floor. So it saved me a shitload of time. But that's okay. I mean, you know, I'm learning something here, whether I realize it or not. $3mm thick base on the bottom of the Hovels walls. Yeah, 3mm is just, I mean, if that's all they had. So I didn't even bother looking to see if they had something like this at the store. They probably don't. They probably have 1/4 inch. And the problem with buying stuff in physical stores is you go and you get used to buying something, and then they discontinue and don't carry it anymore, and then you're up a creek. That's the 3 pieces we need to get cut off. I'm going to go ahead and cut it before I seal it. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So let's do the easiest one first. It's not that one. It'd be this one. Let's see how many X-Acto blades we can mess up. Oh, did I have the who? Do you have all the Lancer buildings or just the farm? Just the farmhouse. Queen's Hussars. I know it's Lancers now. That's another one of those websites that's down, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't need a base. It's on a base. And I'm going to use it as the barn. I'm going to use it as the barn that's on that map. Because, and I haven't fixed the wall. It did get cracked in the move. I probably should fix that at some point. God, this thing is so freaking heavy. And it's nearly done. It's nearly done. What I really like about it is I was really concerned how this cobblestone was going to turn out. Now let's grab the biggest panther we have, the fattest panther, which would probably be the PSC, one of the PSC panthers, and it fits on here just nice. So that's where I'm going to put it. That's where it's going to start the scenario. I'm going to have this lead up to the other road and tie in. And then so this will be the barn, so to speak. And yeah, now I painted this the color I wanted it to be. I painted the other buildings red brick because I could go both ways with the eastern front. This isn't going to be on the eastern front, okay? But you know, there was a gate here that's been run over, and there's some details here like on the door and that kind of, there's a minimum amount of things that need to be painted on it, and it should be good to go as well. But this should work just fine for a barn because it's not going to stay inside the barn. It's basically a spot where this thing cranks out and it's got to get off the board. It's got to basically do a U-ey and go this way. And it's got a limited amount of time to do it. So, yeah, this thing is heavy as all get out. So, but it doesn't need a base. It's got this. But here's where it got damaged in the move, and that's with it being packed. It's just so damn brittle, and it just, you know, moving truck, etc. That piece broke off, which it cleanly broke off. So we're just going to we're super glue that at some point in the future. And you know, on one hand, it's a pain, you got to paint the interior, but at the other hand is, you know, it doesn't have a base you have to mess with. The worst thing about the interior is there's just some places that the figure's physically not going to be able to fit in it. Let me remove that so you can see. There's a hallway here where the penny can't fit in. And then this, you know, you got to walk sideways to go up in these stairs. But you know, you could just set those things off to the side. You know, the odds that something's happening right there, it could happen. Just deal with those as you need them. What am I missing? Here. But now 3D printed stuff. Now almost every building, if this is a 3-story building, it basically gives you, almost every building is 3 stacks. So, Lancer's another, it's down to server outage, yeah. I want freaking episode, what is it, 131 that's coming out of War Games, Soldiers, and Strategy. I'm all waiting for it, and then it'll get it, and I'll be like, oh, well, this isn't so life-altering. This just has a lot of Normandy stuff on there. Not that I need it, I just want it for inspiration. That's all. And at some point, I'm going to repurpose this building. I guess technically this is a barn, but this is 15 millimeter. I want to say it's by Musket Miniatures. I could be wrong. But I painted this a long time ago. And even though it's well painted, it's way too fucking bright. It's for 15 millimeter, but honestly, I think it's okay for 20. It's just not, you know, you're not going to put, you know, multiple horses in there. So we're going to fix this up, bring it up to our current standards. And this should be usable as I played a scenario with it where it's a sniper hunt, and he was up here in the top, up in the loft, hayloft. Got these windows. It reminds me of my house. I got above the garage and above where my daughter's room is, I got what looks to be a second floor, and there's nothing up there. There's access to it, scary access to the garage. I got up there, and it's an unfinished room. I guess it could be a game room. I don't know how the hell you'd get up there. It'd be really hot, and it's the width is probably 20 something feet, and you can only stand up in like the center 6 or 7 feet. But it's weird. There's a window out there. There's a window on both of them. I don't even know how you can get to that one unless you get through the crawl space. You need to be a small Vietnamese person to crawl through there. But yeah, same little thing. There's probably nothing up there either. But anyhow, this should get repainted and shouldn't be bad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Musket Miniatures. They make some of their stuff in this color. It's the same company, I think, that makes this little this is actually a Tex-Mex place, but for Spanish, Mexican-American War, but this is going to be a little Italian house. So, with a really small door. Anyhow. Older buildings are a lot smaller in scale, especially in some countries. They're not as wasteful as we are with stuff here in the United States. Okay, let's get some height advantage on this. And then remember to put it down so I don't mess up my neck. Play on the floor. Oh no. God. The last time I played on the floor, I was 25. And we played a naval game for 26 hours straight. We started at like Saturday morning and ended Sunday morning. We didn't go to sleep. Went through multiple cases of Pepsi. Yeah, we're not doing that again. Had a good time. It was memorable. If this sits inside of it a little bit, is that going to be a problem for me? Probably not sure. I'm going to cut it out of this line a little bit. Always sand it down or trim it as needed. Let's do that. just vacuumed this room yesterday. I guess we'll have to vacuum it again because this stuff makes a lot of friends. A lot of particles and shit, but better than using the Dremel to cut this. I can't use that noisy stuff right now. I'll wake everybody in the damn house up and okay. Now let's see how I did. That one is this one. And this building, I don't know if you can tell, is leaning forward like the Tower of Pisa. Although at less of an angle. I don't know, that's pretty freaking spot on there. And this is the one that doesn't have that floor. So this is the one I could be making with the little bits of wood. Okay, so we're happy with that. H.G. Wells. I get H.G. Wells and Orson Welles mixed up. Are they related? Did they invent the well drinks? If they did, then, you know, you don't want to drink well drinks. Well, I don't. I'd rather not have a headache for the rest of the next day. Remember the days of playing on the floor in my teens, used a simple set of naval rules by my mate and used ship cards with stats on them as playing pieces. There's several companies that make like counters for ships and they look good. I don't have to worry about getting pulled back into that. I'm playing World of Warships to get my... It's a stupid game. But it's better than World of Tanks. I don't know. At least I get the range estimate with it. You know, you could like range on and then the shell dispersion messes you up too. But it's something to do for 30 minutes or something. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut that one a little bit bigger. I'm not going to I'll switch blades when I cut the edge off. This is going to be dull as crap anyways, anyway I cut it. Yeah, I can get on the floor and I can get off the floor. It's just, you know, my problem wouldn't be getting up and down the floor. It would be bending over this. That's the only part where I feel my, not even my age, just anything that I have to do where I basically can't breathe. And I'm a gamer size medium. Well, I'm not even a gamer, but that's the only physical thing I think I've encountered that I'm like, I can't do like I used to. Anything that involves, you know, tying your shoes for an extended period of time. Like, there we go. Oh shit, don't go into this nice one. I don't want to buy another one of them. In 1979, when I was 8, we discovered Navor and Davco, and Fletcher Pratt rules, and Chinograph pencils, and golf tees to help with record keeping and marking fall of shot. So there's a game I saw people play, and I don't know what it was, and it wasn't on the floor, and it was in 1996 when I saw it. I ran a game of Sea Creek 4 in 1996 at this show in Tampa. It was inside of an armory. And they were playing another naval game, what it was. I don't know what it was, but they had like, and I may be remembering it incorrectly, they had these little pieces of paper like this. You'd have your miniatures and have little pieces of paper. And there was little holes in the pieces of paper. Okay? So you would say, hey, I'm firing such and such. And I don't know if you would designate which way this would go, but you would measure it to the target and then see, and you look through there, and if you could see one of the holes that went in the actual ship miniature, you got a hit. Was that Fletcher Pratt? It looked interesting, but I've played multiple games of a range estimating game, being Sea Creek 4, a lot. That's why I grew up playing that game. And that game has a huge problem. Well, it has two huge problems. The game itself doesn't have the problem. The range estimation has a problem. The problem with the range estimation is you're burning your freaking brain all day long. It's not mindless. So, you're putting a lot of effort into achieving a hit, which may or may not happen depending on what method you use. And it's not accurate because as you get closer, the guns are more accurate, they disperse less. And it's no more difficult. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's easier to guess the range at something at extreme range than it is like 12, 15 inches. It's really difficult to guess at that range. When you're really close, it's easy. And when you're really far away, it's easy because you're taking the movement and you're trying to calculate it in your mind how it is. But, so it's an incongruency between the actual ability of hitting something and what you're range estimating. It just assumes that, it's easier to guess the distance something is to you, the closer it is to you. And that's not the case. So I wouldn't play a range estimating game ever again for both of those reasons. And I've played hundreds of games of it, but now I have Sea Creek 5 and I've played it on a couple occasions. The problem I have with Sea Creek 5 is it moves too slow to be played at a convention, and that's where it gets played at. And they have unfinished games every time they bring that out, regardless of how small the scenario is. And I don't want to play an unfinished game. Not that the game is boring, not for me, not for a rivet counter. I'm a rivet counter. I don't get bored with that stuff. Not with that period. Now, some people would play that if you ranged it correctly, you would get an automatic hit and you're rolling for extra hits. What we would do is that just got close enough and you still had to roll to hit. And, so you could botch all those roll to hit things. You guess right all the time, burning your brain, and, you got nothing to show for it. Of course, your opponent's doing the same thing too. So no. FP Fletcher Platt were range estimation, writing the range on the firing arrow and placing on the firing ship after movement of firing was done from the arrow. And placing it by the firing ship. After movement, the firing was done from the arrow. Oh, so you would have to guess the range, then you would move, and then hopefully they didn't try to screw you around. Well, that's interesting. I like the range estimation ability of it. I just don't like the fact that it's not necessarily more difficult to do it at a distance. I guess if you're doing something like pre-dreadnoughts, it's probably not so bad. But we're primarily doing World War II stuff. I remember a buddy of mine. We took the Brits. I always loved the Mediterranean stuff the best. World War II Mediterranean stuff, and we took Second Battle of Surrey Gulf, which is really unbalanced. And we took the Brits and we won with them. And it was like, wow, that was a lot of fun. And I was thinking, everybody's like talking about Italian shooting. Oh, it wasn't that bad, but some of the guns, they were such high velocity, they dispersed a lot. And I started thinking, okay, well, that's fine, but did the Italian 15-inch guns, the Littorio class 15-inch guns, ever land a hit on another vessel? I don't think so. I don't think I ever read that they did. Not the Conte de Cavour and Andrea Doria class. I'm talking about the Littorios, Vittorio Veneto and Littorio. They ever land a 15-inch shell on an enemy vessel? I don't think they did. And if they did, where the hell did it happen? Because that's going to cause some damage. Now, where is this building that this happened to? Here we go. Let's compare and make sure this is where it needs to be. That's pretty freaking close. I'm pretty happy with that. So if I'm off by a millimeter here, a millimeter there, that's still pretty good. I had a bunch of GHQ and CNC and a couple of Superiors. It was a misnamed company. And maybe they were Superior when they came out, but Superior had a lot of details that were soft on something that should have been hard edged. And that's really the problem with it. My Giulio Cesare and the other one, those were Superior because it took a long time for GHQ to come up with them. When I started playing, GHQ only made like 3 German ships, 6 Japanese, and 6 American ships, and 3 British ships or something like that. That Warspite, the Suffolk, and the Tribals. And for the Germans, they had Scharnhorst, Köln, and the Gulfster class destroyers that damn near all of them sunk at Narvik. Not really useful. Where is my third sheet? Is it this one? Yes. This is the one that's the shit show. Because it has all kinds of funky angles in it. Yeah, I never played General Quarters. I tried playing Sea Power one time and it used ship factors. I'm like, no. No, I grew up like you're using like real terminology. I still have the rules and I don't have a problem with them at all other than I can't be into everything, so. But that is my first love is the ships. Believe it or not. I told you, I only was doing ancients and medievals on a fluke. I'm a World War II gamer and, that was just a fluke. You guys just found out about me at the wrong time, at the right time, whatever. Yeah, I think I need to cut this close to those dimensions. And then here, we're going to do the sidewalk so it comes out a little bit. We're going to, like they can, you'll see, like a driveway. And there's another group of people that shows it would play with 1/1200 scale ships. They're just too damn big. They're too expensive for starters, and they're just really out of scale with the game. I'd do it again. I'd do 6000, and everything's available in 1/6000. Even though I don't like those little cast waves on the destroyers. Like, there's no way to play destroyers without the little cast wave things. Make sure we got this. Dimension right on here. All right, you got one more go with this? Go ahead and go all the way through on this one. What's your least favorite miniature company you've ever bought miniatures from? What's your company you're like, you order something, like, oh, these guys have a good line of whatever it is, and you get them and you're like, I'm never, ever, 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 ever buying something from them. And I would actually have a tough time answering that question for myself, because there's several companies that I just don't like the style that they're done in. Some Superior stuff's actually okay, but needs to be fixed up. I remember I had a Scharnhorst a long time ago, from Superior, that the deck on it, if you looked at the ship head on, the deck dipped. So in the middle where the turrets are, because the bottom of it is hollow, it dipped. So it looked like somebody had pressed on the miniature a lot. I got some, is it Platoon 20? I got some 20 millimeter figures from Platoon 20 that some of them are usable, some of them are just like, how melon-headed is that guy? He's a huge melon-headed chap. And like the plastic figures, other than the occasional made-up gun that some of them have, I like the Airfix figures. Whoever sculpted the Airfix figures, I think for the most part they're pretty good. Especially the Desert Rats and the Africa Corps. Those two in particular are really good. I like the style that they're done in. And the Eschi figures, I don't like them. The Matchbox figures are okay, except they're a little smaller. The Matchbox figures are like 1/76th, and the Airfix are 1/72nd. But the Matchbox figures, I remember, had quite a. I only had the Africa Corps, I think, and I think I got those from somebody. Like, they were like hand-me-down figures or something like that. I don't think I actually purchased them, because I don't know that I ever saw them in a store. Atlantic. I remember picking up Atlantic figures one time, and they're awful. They're just absolutely awful. And now there's a lot of options now. And you could spend a whole lifetime on Plastic Soldier Review, just looking at stuff. But when I was doing 20 millimeter, I'd say easily half the manufacturers I didn't care for. 20 years ago, half of them I didn't care for. I don't care for Platoon 20. Like, I'm not buying any more of those. I bought those on a whim. FAA, man, I can't stand FAA, and they're huge. They have these huge cheekbones. And like squish face cheekbone things. And Britannia and their little feet. Not a fan of those. Not a fan of Britannia or FAA. The SHQ figures are proportioned probably of the white metal ones at the time, probably the best, the most realistic, but they lacked equipment and personality. Although I did one of these people that I have is an is an SHQ figure. And actually painted up okay. They're certainly the most in scale of any of them. This one here, I made this one a girl. I did a sex change on this figure. Made it a girl. It looks like a girly looking dude. So I figured it's it's a lady that's trying to fit in and not look like a, try to avoid getting raped by one of the Schützen. See if I can get a picture of her. She turned out okay. Annette. And we shall call you Annette. She got some kind of rifle. I don't know what it is. This is the best way to... That's an SHQ figure. One of my 10. I think I got 10 of them so far. I got about another 10 to paint. Yeah, but her rifle's pretty delicate, so... Figure 20. The metal they were made with was so brittle that the rifle barrels snapped off and the ankles and were so weak that it kept coming off the bases. Yeah, I remember when they switched alloys to the harder one that they use now. And I didn't like it. I like the soft one. And then now I'm kind of used to... I'm talking about like GHQ. GHQ had one you could bend the barrels back, and this one you can only do it so many times, and you got broken barrels. So I didn't like it. But then it keeps from bending to begin with. So it's actually better. But Figure 20. I can't say that I had any of those. Is that the same company as Stone Mountain? Is that the store we had in town would keep some Stone Mountain stuff? I think Stone Mountain just did ACW. I could be wrong. Not buying any more of those, huh? Excuse you. I'm going to go straight across with this. That way we get a good corner there. Okay. We won't repurpose that piece. I'm sure there's people that love Britannia. I'm just not one of them. All their figures look the same. Let's come and do this in a civilized way. I can't cut from the other side because I don't know exactly where it lands. This takes a little bit of patience. We don't have a timetable we have to get this done by. Hell, I may be dead before I put on a game. I don't know. Pretty happy with that. No. Actually, this still has an edge on it. It's just difficult to cut through 2 millimeters of this stuff. When you cut into it, it raises the edge. Like you cut into it and it's like displaces the edge, so it sticks out a little bit. So it's just going to take that little bit off. Actually, I don't mind doing this. Taking flash off a model is annoying. Like that's like made by factory. Shouldn't have that crap. But this is handmade, man. This is some handmade shit right here. And I cannot vacuum right this second. Let's just take that little edge off. Now, Oh, this isn't the one. Oh, this is the one that has the driveway up in here. This is when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I really value like not having my contacts in because I'm like privy to all kinds of seeing stuff that I normally wouldn't see. So I'm going to take this from here to here, and I'm going to slice some of this off. I'll probably just use the sandpaper, but I'm not going to well, let's see if we can. Doesn't need to taper to nothing, but that's how the shit ends up on the floor. Almost makes me want to whittle. I said almost. Hell, it's not even that noticeable. Oh well, it's the fucking thought that counts. Okay, I think that's... Okay. probably should round these corners, but I just hadn't done that on the other ones. It annoys me. I'll go round the other corners off. Okay. There are figures I got in the mid-'80s. They had a few Germans and Russians. The company was taken over in the mid-'90s and moved to Northern Ireland. Better figures after that. Yeah, I definitely have some dogs. Okay, so there's that one. Was this the last one of the three? No, I haven't even messed with these yet. Like sanding them down and stuff. Okay, that one's good to go. Yeah. So I actually am enjoying this part. I haven't really been enjoying painting the interior, although it's a necessary evil. So as soon as I can get away from getting buildings that don't have floors, I will. Gap there between this building that leans forward and the other one. Oh well. It be what it is. So they moved to Northern Ireland. Are you guys in the UK very specific about which Ireland you're talking about? Like, oh, I went to Ireland. What, the Northern or the other part? Is it like East and West Germany? You went to Germany. Which one? Oh, no, the West one. Oh, okay. I can only speak for myself. When people say I'm going to Ireland, I assume it's not the northern one. Does Northern Ireland even have a flag? I think of, Okay. This is good to go. I mean, good for sealing. And then the third one was this one. Brittle ass paper, and look, comes from the evil empire. I don't know how I got this, but I've ever had it 40 years. All right, now we can seal all three of these. Even though we got four to do, one of them is already sealed. This one we're going to keep. We're going to trash this. And then one's sealed, so when we're done with this, we'll go and paint the other one. That is sealed. Made in the USA with global materials. So it wants me to actually use this and then sand it. Yeah. I'm not sanding it. Never did. Seems to work just fine. Although on this, I did apply, I believe, multiple coats of it. Because it wasn't going to get the multiple coats of that this gets multiple coats of paint. Plastic lid with a plastic container. I believe it's a plastic container. Might be aluminium. I don't want to fuss with anything right now. And one of these are outside. This got hard and stuff. I don't know if I can bring this thing back to life. Let's get crazy. No, it works better with an X-Acto knife, not a pen. Yeah, baby. I gotta show you guys my hedges, see what you guys think of. I made them a long time ago. They worked okay. I think I need to doctor them up a little bit. I don't have that horsehair stuff that you guys have everywhere. Every time you see something cool in a British war game magazine, it's always, oh, rubberized horsehair. Like, I think the stuff that I use is the equivalent of that here in the States, but we don't have anything that's called rubberized horsehair. It's just like those scouring pads. It was like a scouring pad, and I pulled it apart a bit, to give it some. It's pretty solid, so. And last time I made them, there was no internet, or there wasn't an internet to, how it is now, where you could just be like, well, I'll just order it from somewhere else that does have it. You guys use rubberized horsehair for everything. I came across somebody that was selling an old Marx playset. Something I never had. I never had any of those things. I always wanted a Guns and Averone. They're a bit before my time. I mean, they were already old by the time I was of age to play with that stuff. And they're playing some Mark's playset, and they're selling it for like a couple $100 or something like that. I'm like, who the? I mean, it looks like shit. That's back when if you wanted enemy troops, there were the. Well, I don't know how the Marks one was, but the ones I've seen, like, you had green army men, and then you had gray ones that were exactly the same pose as the green army men, same equipment and everything. But somehow they're supposed to be the baddies. I'm like, I'm not buying it, This guy's using a grease gun. Like, not gonna fool me. And as good as the Airfix figures are, there's a lot of figures that are useless in there. A lot of poses that just aren't very useful. I was wondering, why are the German figures surrendering? The Afrika Korps German figures surrendering, but there's no British surrendering. They're for Tunisia. There's the German figure in the infantry set that has covering his face. Useless figure. Airfix never made U.S. infantry, did they? I mean, I know they made Marines. I had them. Didn't they make U.S. ETO figures? I don't remember ever seeing any. This MPC certainly did not make them. There's several things that they made in Airfix, but they didn't transfer them over to MPC. Only U.S. Marines. I wonder why they did that. Oh, they made U.S. paratroops. I had those guys. And they were cast in blue. Mine were cast in exactly the same blue that the Germans and the RAF ground personnel, the Luftwaffe German personnel, the German paratroops, and the German infantry were all cast in that same blue. And the World War I German infantry also was cast in that. Maybe other things as well, but like when you're a kid, you're not going to paint the figure. Like, what am I going to do with blue blue airborne? And speaking of figures, I would never do U.S. paratroopers with the mohawk haircut. I ain't doing that. I probably wouldn't paint any of them with the black face paint either. That's one of those things that doesn't look good. That when you do it in real life, it doesn't look right anyways. So doing it in miniature looks like you just did a sloppy job at it. I'm not doing mohawks on the. If I want to do mohawks, I'll paint mohawks. What was his name? Magua. I tried watching that a couple years ago, or a year ago or so with my daughter, and I was like, man, it was just that movie did not age well. And I liked the movie, but it did not age well. It looked too It looked like from the early 80s to me. I am not going to wake up the neighbors, wake up the wife. That could stay like that. It's in a place where it's not likely that it will spill. Yeah, I wonder why they did that. No ETO. Although I never saw any British infantry either. Okay. So this can go off to the side while it dries. Do I have an extra piece of cardboard? I hope I do, because I don't want to paint directly on that. Because this is what's next. Florida. This set of row houses. Well, let's see how this works. You love the Matchbox U.S. infantry. They allowed me to create the battle scene from the Eagle has landed with the Waterloo farm buildings. Ah, yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. Who played Himmler in that? Was it Donald Pleasance? Somebody looked awfully creepy. Look that up. My daughter's seen that movie. I made her watch it. The Eagle has... I used to have it on VHS and I loaned it out and never got it back, which is irrelevant now. I don't have anything to watch on VHS. The Eagle has landed... cast. Yep. Yep, he did a good job of that. BBC yesterday afternoon. Do you guys have any more channels? Any native British channels other than BBC that we may have heard of? I watch so little television. Like, to watch something live, like, why do I want to watch this right now? We're never going to finish. We're never going to finish like that. Let's use a bigger brush. Let's use this big Boston. Went to see the film 1975 during the school holidays. You'd read the book the previous year. I know, the book's better. Is there any movie you guys can think of that the movie's better than the book? I think Jurassic Park, the movie is better than the book, and I that may be the only one that I've actually read the book and saw the movie. They don't make movies out of books I read. I thought the movie was better. I thought the movie was better than the book. The book just focuses even more on frickin' raptors. I don't give a fuck about raptors. That's not a dinosaur. That's a fucking chicken. Could be too big. Damn it, man. I thought I used the big one. Maybe I didn't. I believe that's the only. Yeah, that's the only. That's the only book and movie combination I've ever read. I've ever done together. The book wasn't bad. The movie was better. I thought it was really interesting, and I've mentioned this before, like how they're different from each other. Like, well, the changes they decided to make in the movie, why they made them, you know, like there's not as many changes as you would think. There's a lot of similarities. At least the first movie. Terrestrial channels, BBC One, 2, ITV. Okay, that's the other one. Channel 4 and Channel 5. Literally, is it Channel 4? Like, it's a British channel. Could you have, like, something different playing on Channel 4? Is Channel 4 on Channel 4 on your TV set? That would be really confusing if it wasn't. I want to see... There's a show that comes on Channel 4. Where is it? On 4? No, it's on 27. What? Channel 4 here in the United States has always been, in my experience, everywhere I've lived, CBS. CBS is always Channel 4 on the set. I don't know why. It just always is. For me. Channel 5 is always PBS. Is that like your BBC? I think it might be like your BBC. Yes, your BBC. Different digital channel options. I just mean back in the day. Back in the day when we didn't have all those 50 million things. Is this Channel 4 on Channel 4? Is Channel 5 on Channel 5? I think we can watch regular TV. We don't have cable, which we don't really need it anyways. We did many years ago, and then realized how much we were paying just so my daughter could watch the Disney Channel. Like, we don't need that. And the most annoying thing about television is if you have anything like a TV guide, it shows you all kinds of channels, even if you don't get them. You'll find it's hard to find something to watch, and then when you find something to watch, it's on the one channel you don't have, that you can't get. So that TV guide always has what I like to call a lot of noise. There's a lot of things on there that just distract you from the mission. Oh, I guess I fucked up. I was supposed to draw this in pen first. Well, this one will be drawn afterwards. This Just want to put a thick coat on here to hopefully the other paints we put on here don't soak up as much. I'm also putting them on kind of watery, so. Another happy little accident. Now, I'm going to put this somewhere. It's out of the way, hopefully. Shonen Sontag. Bless you. I don't know what that is. That's not a Blitzkrieg word. I only know Blitzkrieg German. If they used it in the Blitzkrieg, I know it. There are only 3 channels in the UK till 1982. Channel 4 was named to celebrate the change. Channel 5 arrived in 1999. When I moved out, which would have been 1991, 1992, something like that, I had a little television. It was very small, but it was color. And I only watched the TV channels that I got, which locally we only had 2 channels. We had, not 3 channels, sorry. We had the PBS channel, which I think they have everywhere. The PBS channel, whatever the hell it's called. 7, which is our ABC, our local ABC channel. And then we had just gotten a Fox channel, 51, which is also sometimes 13. That was it. I didn't get any other channels. So as a young adult, old teenager, whatever you want to call it, yeah, I moved out when I was 19. I'd watch whatever TV was on those shows, on those channels, and that was it. So if something was playing on CBS, I didn't see that show growing up. Unless it was, on reruns or something like that. On one of the other channels. So what was that show everybody watched? Cheers? Never watched Cheers. Cheers was a CBS show. Not that I'm dying to see it or anything, but it's a CBS show, so wouldn't have watched it. Okay. Well, that's going to soak up some, and damn it, I'm supposed to draw that first. Yeah, we'll see. This is maybe I'll actually like this better. Remains to be seen. All right, where do we go from here? Well, it hasn't been an hour. I can tell you that much. I feel like I need to take these bricks out. So let me do that. Let's see if we don't have a fiasco here. Let's take some paper towel. Let's see how watery this is. Not super. Right? Yeah. No, we're okay. You stick with just a little bit of the, what do you call it, the water tension. We'll spread these out on the paper towel. I'm actually pretty happy with that. And the fact that there's some different colored bricks in there doesn't hurt. But those light pink ones just, that wouldn't want to fly. I don't have to get every single brick out of there. Now let's spread these out on a paper towel a little bit. And if these stick a little bit because of the really thin down black paint, well, so be it. There's your clumps. Okay. And we're going to leave this off to dry. This is why I have two tables. I can put the table over here. I cleaned the table over here next to me. Now it's cluttered with stuff. Typical. Yeah, I like how that turned out. That was done with oh no, we got some on us. Oh well. That was done not with Nuln oil. Making meth. Is that how you make meth? I don't know shit about drug. They didn't have that on Narcos Mexico, so I don't know. We're gonna put some more on here. I mean, it's significantly different in color. I'm reusing coffee grounds. Significantly different in color. That ain't worth a shit. So I don't know shit about meth. I don't know shit about any drugs for that matter. I've never seen coke. I've only been in 4 situations in my entire life where somebody was smoking a joint. And I guess people can't smoke a joint and not offer it to other people. Never touch that shit. Not a big fan of the hippie culture, so that alone, no reason to touch it. Yeah, this looks like crap like this. It almost looks like little soap bar things. So then we've got our mix that we made here with our pipette. This is just black craft paint. And we're just going to douse this in it. And I might leave some of the bricks actually in this color and mix them in there and just see what it looks like. I remember going to college. These people make a big stink. No, man, no, marijuana doesn't mess you up or anything. It's alcohol. Alcohol's bad. Well, not the way I drink. I mean, if you do anything irresponsible, you're being irresponsible about it. But I don't have alcoholism in my family, and it doesn't have a bad connotation to me. Okay, so we've got some saturation going on in here. Yeah, and I don't find it addictive at all. But food is what's addictive. Okay. So that just sits there and percolates. Now, if I had more of these lids, I'd make more. But I don't. Like I said, I could just squeeze this stuff in here and mix it up, but as soon as I do that, there's a freaking leak. And there's a lot of powder and stuff in here. I think it lists as this stuff is made out of ceramics, but somehow I think it's grinding. There's some grinding going on in there. All right, I feel like being an experimenter today. So let's Let's mix it up. Man, I got lots of this stuff. Why can't I? Well, let's just ditch that. We're going to make a few other colored bricks with strong tone. Let's put the bricks in first. Let's not make a huge bat. You have bricks from the same manufacturer, 20mm. They are a dark brick red. I couldn't order them. I couldn't order dark brick red. It wasn't available. I had to get them through eBay. Okay, let's drop some of this stuff on here. Could just mix it with brown. Should I do that? Should I mix it with brown? Nah, I have some of these that I did with the other one. I don't mind them being a little different from each other. Oh shit, we're gonna need a lot more than that. All right, no more. If I need more than that, we'll add water to it. I suspect they're not going to look that much different. This is as much as I can cook. this is me cooking. Oh man, it's just, do I really need another hobby that's slow as shit? No. No, I'm slow enough with the stuff that I do. Do not fall over, you dickweed. All right. Tony's Cooking Show. Expensive experiment. Yeah, I spent like $60 on them, but I think it's going to turn out okay. This stuff has got thicker stuff on here, so I'm going to just lay it out. And like I said, if they come out in clumps, I'm actually okay with it because I don't mind if they stick together. So these are definitely the thickest. They're going to have a slight glossy tone to them, unfortunately. But it's a different color of them. And I could spray them with flat coat if it comes down to it. And some of them could stay in here. They'll dry in there. Let's see what method. They're going to dry, these are going to dry faster than any of the other ones by far. And while I'm thinking about it, let me grab the other ones that are the watered down black paint and see how different they are. I'm sure they'll be different. I don't know if they're that much different. Exactly. So we're going to let these dry back where they were. And let these other ones dry back where they are. And I'm not going to cover the entire street in this stuff, but you can't just have everything barren. Just adding a little bit like I did for that one photo picture there in the thumbnail made a big difference. And then these drying as well. And we've got some that are now this I'll let evaporate like the other ones. Okay. Where to next? Are you dry now? Not quite. Not quite. Now, how about these pieces? These are certainly dry enough to do the marker on top of them. So we can do that. Let's start off by doing the smallest building of them all, which is the butcher shop. Which I believe is this one. Now this is going to be a little tricky because there's a fair amount of this that is inside the building. So let's sketch it out with pencil. Make sure we're even on the back here. Even on the front. And now I got to get creative, which means removing this. And then seeing what the inside plot looks like. So, this is pretty easy. This is just going to go from here to here. And likewise, this one's just going to go from here to this corner. Now this wall is a little thicker. But this is where the catch is going to happen. This building goes to here to here. All right, so this is, when you get to this point here, that wall's going to end. And the opening is like this to that point. And this is going to go all the way. Interesting. This is going to be you're not really going to see that part. Now when you get to this point, this wall is going to end. this wall ends. When it gets to about here. So this is going to go like so. Don't really need to draw that in or that in. We're interested in this wall, in this particular small room. So let's move this off to the side at the same angle. This wall is going to go to this point. So when you get to, oh shit, I could just measure it. I don't need to be that precise. This is where you want to go metric. So this particular building, this particular room is, we're going to call it 5 mil, or 5 centimeters. Yeah, that's about where it is. So this is going to go here. So this is your inside corner. And it's going to go 9.5 to the outside. Yep. Okay, so we're good. So that's, and then when this intersects like this, of course, I could have just as easily like put a piece of paper, saw that it goes through, something like that. It doesn't need, there just needs to be an interior in here. There needs to be an interior in here. Oh, interesting. Interesting. It's more like here. That's why we're doing it in pencil. Yeah, so you got people in here. If you go in here, now you move in there, you got the guy there at the doorway. There he is at the doorway. Almost off by the thickness of the wall. That's interesting. want this thing like the TARDIS. You get in there and it's a lot bigger inside. Ah, my first Doctor Who reference. I remember watching that as a kid when I was like 10 years old. It didn't make any fucking sense to me. And I'm not really one for science fiction. There's enough real cool things that happened. Okay, that's this building, right? 40 and change. 40 and change. Okay, cool. We got that where we want. So this is going to be open there. This goes here. And this comes to a close there. Okay. And what do we have going on here? Something like this. I don't know that he dodged a bullet, but they didn't hit him. I would say that Bush dodged a shoe. I think that's an accurate statement. Like, he knew it was coming and he goes, you know, but I'm probably not going to be I'm probably not going to be listening to the news at all. It's just this morning. There's already so much obfuscation of it. You know, social media gives everybody a platform to say what their opinion is, regardless of how correct or incorrect the assessment might be. I just don't care to listen to. And no repercussions for saying something incorrect. So. I can tell you this point: if there's an assassination on one of the people running for election at this point, it's probably going to be really bad for this country. It could get violent. I don't know what that means, but I'm just saying that there's going to be there's going to be turmoil. Let's see. It doesn't mean I'm going to partake in any of it, but actually I will if you come to my house. All bets are off. You show up at my house with violent intent, all bets are off. Okay. Opening there. Opening there. Okay. And there is a staircase of some form here, which runs right here. This is where the staircase is, this area. So I could conceivably make an area that people underneath the stairs, where there's like a little closet here or something for somebody to be inside of. I think I might do that. But I need to put the parameters of the staircase goes to about there. I just finished, speaking of assassinations, I just finished the Kennedy book, the Killing Kennedy book, which is pretty interesting. I don't really get into political stuff, but it's interesting to read about things that I didn't know anything about, which doesn't really narrow it down because that's not really my area of interest. So I guess that fits inside there. So this is a thin wall. It's not going to be very big. It's almost like I'm creating a dungeon for a role-playing game. I kind of am. Kind of am. I'll say we can get 2 people in there. All this is going to be blacked out because it's out on the surface. You got this and this is out on the surface. If somebody's here, they're going to be here, not on this play, so to speak. Okay. I'm not so worried about windows, but there's no windows to this side here. Okay, so we just created a little closet. And they can't really fit in there, but they'll be able to fit in there. They'll be on here, won't be able to close it. This is just too solid. And we're going to do that in the multiple story building there's all kinds of hidey holes in there. So it's just silly to have this solid. They totally would have, in a real building, they would totally have some kind of storage in there. Uh-oh. A bedroom for Henry Potter. Henry Potter. Who the hell's Henry Potter? Am I supposed to know this? Let's see who Henry Potter is. Some guy that lived in a tiny bedroom. Henri? I don't think I have an Henri yet. Yeah, I don't know what that is. And if it has anything to do with the movies, I haven't seen it. I've tried to watch the first movie twice. I can't watch it. I can't digest it. Okay, so this is a pretty busy floor plan there. Make sure none of this is. I don't want to have to cover over this pen. It can be done, but it's just extra time on there. I think we're pretty good. French for Harry Potter. Lived in the cupboard under the stairs. I didn't make it that far. I tried watching the first movie once. I made it 15 minutes. The next time, I think I made it 20, or the other way around. Now look at this bowed out building. Of course, that's how the miniature is. Of course, it actually is leaning forward a little bit. You know, It took a hit from the backside here. I don't think I have a guy named Henri yet. Yet. And Harry Potter's supposed to be like in modern day, right? Like, yeah, it's maybe if it was done at a different time period, I'd be more susceptible to be able to. Well, they don't make those kind of movies for 40-year-olds, you know. Just like the Star Wars movies, they came out those when I was this age. I probably wouldn't have an affinity for them. Although I don't know that I'd watch them again. To be honest with you, so many of the new shows are just so shitty that I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's fine when I was a kid. Okay, and this is the door. And this is the door there. So these areas that are represented down here, I'm probably going to paint this area black. It's probably the easiest thing to do is just paint this area black and all this area here. So we know that it's not really part of the building per se. I've thought your daughter was an age you have been forced to watch them with her. They were for her generation. She's watched them all. And I tried watching the first one. I couldn't do it. Just like she tried watching, I watched The Lord of the Rings, the first one, with my wife in the movie theater. My wife is a terrible movie watcher. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but I watched the first one in the movie theater, and I'm not necessarily going to put a door there. I'm just going to leave that open like that. But she would not watch the second one with me. I watched the second one and third one on my own. I think I borrowed somebody's DVD or something like that to watch it. So I started figuring, when it's hard to find when your kids around 13, 14, 12 to 15 years old. It's kind of hard to find stuff for them to watch that's action related. There's a lot of inappropriate stuff for them. So those PG-13s, we started watching the Lord of the Rings, and she did not want to watch the second one. So I'm like, it's not like it's a World War II movie. I don't have to cram it down her throat. So we just didn't. But the Harry Potter stuff she watched, and I've only seen 15 minutes of the first one, and that's it. I don't think I'll ever watch any. I've been on the rides at Universal Studios and don't know what the fuck's about, what it's about, or who's, a cursory information of who's who. It's not really important to me, but so that's this place. I tell you what, if you assault this from these two sides, you're going to be, chopped to bits. There's a lot of places to, and I'm top too. So, sometimes you're going to be forced to not be able to come in this way. So, okay, there's that one. Yeah, nobody forces me to watch shit. Life's too short. I don't force people to watch anything, so. I was just commenting to my wife. I don't remember the last time we actually watched something on DVD. My daughter we'd have those as a kid, and kids will watch the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But now with access to everything we have, see here, that's coming off. I don't want that to come off. I have to print up another one. Bread of Fantasy specializes in croissants and brioches. So here, I'm going to do the outside of this. And this is where it gets a little interesting. So for instance, I don't need an inside version of anything here in this area because you just put the figure there. It's really this box. So honestly, I could probably just get away with just doing that box and calling it a day. That box goes from, that window, wherever the hell that window is. So the window goes here to here. Okay, so the wall follows that window. There's another window here to here, and there's another one here to here. And then there's, let's move this back this way. There's one here and here. There's one here and here. And then this one's outside, so you don't need to represent that one. So if I just take my measuring tool here and go, okay, well, the inside footprint of this is about 95 mil. Inside of the walls, and the windows here, so we know this wall is going to go about there. This is going to go to here, and the wall's going to go like that. Let's see if that jives with being about 95. It's pretty close. Okay, so this is the inside corner here. And of course, this is the outside corner. Only reason there's a line there is because there's a window. Okay, and then this room is about 50, just over like 51 mil inside. So 51. That means it's right on the inside of that window, and that's correct. That's exactly where it is. Yep. So we'll go to the inside of that window and bring that line across. Okay, that's the inside of that. That goes like so. Another window here. Here's the corner. Here to here. Here to here. And the window here, and then there's another one. Ooh. Okay, that's there. That's there. This is a window. That's a window. That's a window. And then this is the door. Which I'll make a little bit bigger than that. Okay. Okay. And then this wall goes all the way down to the back. And we'll have this go like this. Now, this particular one, there's another stair here, and it looks like there's actually a notch. So the stair, the notch is like 30. That's even with that, and then it comes back in. So we're going to go 30, and then it's going to come back in a smidge. Give this some character instead of just being like, oh, well, this is just, you know, you're inside or whatever. I don't know, it's important to me. And then we have the thickness on the back, which the stairs are going to end about 55 millimeters from the edge of the wall. So 55 millimeters from the edge of the wall. They're going to end about here. Oh, and they are .30 from this edge here. So the stairs are like so. So the stairs encompass something like this, including the interior wall. So we've got a little cubby hole here. And of course, this will be part of it as well. And the opening is about there and there. Okay, so this area over here, I don't even have to paint. You got to paint this like the sidewalk. This area that's in here could be who knows what. It could be all black for all we care. And same thing with this area here. And that would save a whole lot of drama for starters. Now, this area here is not really usable because you're not going to be able to fit somebody in there. So we need to stop the usable space maybe 35 millimeters from the edge of the building. So this is a really small staircase. We're just going to make it something like this. Yeah, enough to put one figure in there. All right, I will be right back in a moment. Okay. Yeah, so all we got to do is just paint that one area. You know, obviously we have to paint the outside where the sidewalk is, but the inside, you know, this area is not going to be used. You use this right here. You know, it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to do this, but it is what. Hey, you live and you learn, and you know, it might not be worth it to use some of these older buildings if you've got to do all this extra stuff in advance. This goes all the way to the end. There's like an incongruency here. From the front of that to this is about 6. Let's see. 5 and change from the front of the wall. 5 and change to the outside. Yeah, maybe it's off by a little bit. At the doorway, 3.5 plus the thickness. The doorway, 3.5. Maybe this needs to come up a little bit more. So why we do this in pencil? And how thick is that? It's kind of hard to judge. Maybe bring this. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. The inside dimensions on this are about right. No, we are not doing inches for this. That's stupid. 51. Yeah, it got smaller somehow. Oop. Oh my God, I had it open? Oh shit. This does need to go all the way to the end. But like all of this, short of well, you know what? We could do this. And then we can decide whether or not we want to even represent that. decide how I'm going to represent that. I was doing dashed line. Well, it doesn't really matter. We're going to go over this stuff anyways. That's an actual doorway there. And I might get to the point where here I don't mind drawing it because it's not visible. But on some of the other stuff, yeah, I don't want to draw a door and then it's on a place that's open because you would like see it. Here it doesn't really matter so much. This is going to taper to nothing there. So this might actually be the solid wall other than this closet, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So this is all solid in here. And I might come in here and paint this as well. So I didn't want to use black because it just kind of like lack of personality doing it in black, but it doesn't need to have any detail. We got one more to do and then we probably have to stop. The factory. Now, let's look at what the inside looks like. Oh, it's just an open box. Well, that's really the best scenario. So this is going to go in. This is going to go in. So there's going to be, so the wall runs here. So this is going to run like that. So like this area here, this could all be, other than the little door opening, all that can be black because it's just going to be underneath here. So other than this and this, all of this can be, it doesn't really matter what color it is. And this is going to be the opening to bring in whatever it is that you want to bring into the butcher shop. Really pretty simple. And this wall is bowed. And it will not be an evening session today. I've got to go out of town for the rest of the evening, which I need to get ready to leave in about 3 hours. We'll be back during the week. Hopefully. This thing has a lot of windows, doesn't it? Except on this bowed wall on the lower level. A lot of windows over here. Yep. We got one from here to here. We got one from here to here. We got one from here to here. None here. None here. Oh, just on that one wall. Don't attack from there. You're going to get suppressed. Oh, I guess I'm doing a straight line, not the dodge one. The dashed ones, it's fine. Doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to paint over it. Anyways. And no other openings. Okay, so this sits like this. Okay, so that's where we're going to stop for this morning. Thanks for stopping by, folks.